And on this desolate road with nothing more than my own headlights, I found myself on it just the other morning. Hey, good morning and welcome to this week's Lively Bible Encounter entitled, You're Not Alone. You know, just the other morning I was on a road much similar to this one, and on the one side of me there was a very steep embankment, a huge drop-off, and on the other one a berm much like this one. And most times as I would find myself in that situation and somebody would come up in behind me and their headlights would begin to glare in my mirrors, I would point them back at them and I would have a sense of aggravation. And as I was coming down this road just the other morning, I came in behind another vehicle and immediately I dimmed my lights and something within inside of me changed just a little bit. Like you could see this vehicle, their speed, the demeanor and the way that they were driving would begin to change, and something came to my mind, said that there was relief in that driver's thought process, that maybe they thought that they were all alone out there on this very dark and long, windy, desolate road many of us call Rich Mountain. And it was relieving to me in that instance to realize that there's so many roads that many of us travel on that we think that we're all by ourselves. And then whenever we look back just a little bit, as we see that there's somebody else right there that's been with us the whole time. And that this morning for me, friend, is where life meets Bible. And I find it in the latter verse in the 28th chapter of the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 28, verse 20. And we hear that Jesus, as he's talking to his disciples, he said, I am always with you. And that just hit a little bit different for me this morning. That on that desolate road, and I'm thinking that, hey, I'm all alone. And then you hear God's voice as he sends his messenger up behind you with his high beams in your rear view mirror, saying, hey, remember, I'm with you. You're not alone. You don't have to do it alone. And it caused me to reflect and to see where God is in my life, and where I can find God in just the everyday activity. And I just want to remind you this morning in the most simple way that God is always with you. It might not be in this physical form that where we have to look around us and wonder like, well, where is this invisible being that you call God? Because so many times we pray to this so-called invisible being that I call God, my Father, that we pray to him and he sends people after people to help us through these hardships, these burdens, these trials, even temptation. He sends them one after the other, sometimes in floods. And we pray and say, God, where are you at? Friend, I want to remind you this morning that you're not alone and that you don't have to go through it alone. I don't know what's your road, that desolate, dark journey that maybe you're on looks like. But what I do know is that you're not on it all by yourself. Because just as God reminded the disciples in Matthew 28, he reminds you just the same this morning. And he wants you to know that you're not alone and that he is very much real. And that if you look for him and that if you pray to him with unwavering hearts, have just a little bit of faith, that just as we would pray for rain, that we would walk out and that we would flip that umbrella up. One and the same, that as you would pray to him to be on that journey with you, that you would take that journey and that you would know that God is with you. And one of the same, that if you can't exactly feel his presence with you this morning, or wherever and whenever this message might catch up with you, if you can't feel his presence with you, I invite you, friend, this morning to reach out to me. And I'll join you on that journey. I know it can get ugly. And maybe you're telling yourself right now, well, I don't think you can handle this journey. Maybe I can't. But my God can. And where I go, God goes. I believe that God goes before me and that if He sends me into a place that He's already there. I believe that if you're on a journey and that God is sending you on that journey this morning, that God is already there. And so again, let me tell you, I don't know what your journey looks like. I don't feel your struggles, and I don't claim to understand everything. But what I do understand is that God is with you, that you're not alone, and that you don't have to go through it alone. At a bare minimum, I would love to pray for you this morning. If you would just let me know what your need is, where you need God in your life, what your road looks like maybe. I would love to pray with you. More than that, I would love to walk the journey with you. I would love to show you what true authenticity looks like. That I'll come and I'll hold your hand. I'll come up and we'll hug and we'll cry it out if we need to. As a man once told me that grown men don't cry, I would argue this morning and tell you that you're not a man until you learn how to cry. And women, I would tell you the same thing. The same that your children need to understand that it's okay to cry. Because there's a lot more than just tears whenever we sob, whenever we come to Christ in such a real way. And I just want to leave you with that this morning, letting you know that, hey, I'm available. I would love to walk the journey with you. I would love to pray you through it. And I want you to understand this morning that you're not alone and that you don't have to go through it alone any longer. I love you, and so does God. And thanks for joining me on this morning's Lively Bible Encounter.